The Bachelor, a franchise that time and time again claims every season to be
the most dramatic ever.
But what about the most dramatic moments from the most dramatic franchise? So in this video, I'll be going over some of the biggest scandals to ever air in Bachelor history. Warning, some sections of this video contain controversial topics. All I ask is that you all keep kind to each other in the comments section below. Now for this video, I'm going to keep things related to events that actually affected a season itself, or happened during a season and changed public perception of the lead or some of its contestants as it was airing. Because otherwise we'd be here all day with scandals that have happened since seasons aired. And to start us off, I'll be talking about a contestant who, if it weren't for this controversy, would have in all likelihood been an absolute fan favorite, but instead became one of Bachelor Nation's most hated men. This is Jed Wyatt from Hannah Brown's season of The Bachelorette. Best known for his signature jacket, his guitar, and of course, his dog food jingle.
Rain or shine, kind of love like nothing you've seen before. Your dog really does deserve the best, so go pick him up some better balls.
Now, Jed here became one of the quick frontrunners of season 15 by winning over Hannah with his serenades and laid-back attitude. But more importantly, he positioned himself directly opposite a man named Luke P, who was widely regarded as the most hated man on the season. And with Jed Prime to be one of the last remaining men, along with clashing against the season villain, you would think he'd have earned the adoration of most fans. Unfortunately for him, that wasn't the case, as partway through the season, an article from People magazine released detailing that Jed had gone on the show with a girlfriend back home, making it all the more hard to watch as Jed got rose after rose after rose, until eventually getting down on one knee and proposing to Hannah. Naturally, once filming ended, Hannah started seeing the red flags as Jed tried to cover his tracks, but the release of the People article while the season was still airing brought the whole relationship down for good, and eventually the show would bring them back to film a very public breakup. And the cherry on top of all of it is this could have all been avoided if Jed had been a little more honest night one, as, believe it or not, he wasn't the only man to come on Hannah Brown's season already in a relationship.
I knew you were nervous coming in today.
Mm-hmm.
It might be because you have a girlfriend.
I don't have a girlfriend.
Hannah would then go on to ask the group if anyone else had a girl back home. Jed remained silent.
So, if there's anybody else that has something else back home, please leave now. Anybody?
But Jed is just one of many contestants involved in final pick controversies from the franchise. Something that viewers have come to expect almost every After the Final Rose reunion show since the time Jason Mesnick dumped his final pick Melissa in order to pursue runner-up Molly. Something that was repeated in a 30-minute straight segment where Bachelor Ari awkwardly ended his engagement to Becca in order to propose to his runner-up Lauren that night during the reunion show. And this absolutely infuriated Bachelor viewers, skyrocketing Becca to becoming the Bachelorette, where she met the next controversial figure that I want to talk about, Garrett Y. Now, in more recent years, it's become common for Bachelor production to release the cast of contestants for a season before it airs, giving fans of the show an opportunity to vet contestants and weed through their social media postings. Famously, a contestant named Lee Garrett had racially motivated tweets surface after being cast on Rachel Lindsay's season of The Bachelorette, the first ever season where a woman of color was cast as the lead. In similar fashion, Garrett Y was put under fire for some of his social media likes that mocked a survivor of the Parkland shooting, immigration, and the transgender community. But one significant difference between last name Garrett and first name Garrett is that Garrett Y would eventually go on to be Becca's final pick, and the two would get engaged, something that put the show in a difficult position as they typically try to protect the lead and their pick in order to bolster the two's love story for a season. In addition, many of the postings that Garrett liked held vastly different views from ones Becca herself shared publicly, leading many to speculate that the two weren't going to last. Still, the couple stayed together after the airing of the show, with Garrett making an apology for the likes.
when I was liking things, it was going against what she stands for, and that made it really hard on us as a couple. So when we started talking about that, we got through that together, and we're growing, we're progressing, and we're moving forward.
However, in 2020, the two did break off their engagement, with Becca citing that it, quote, wasn't based solely off of one Instagram post or somebody else's opinions or comments. To any relationship, there's a lot of layers, and it's not for me to divulge the details. Currently, both are dating different people, with Becca meeting her boyfriend on Bachelor in Paradise, the Bachelor spin-off show that's seen its own fair share of controversies, like Brendan from Tayshia's season and Piper from Matt James's season, who came to the beach already in a relationship together, just at different times, leading Brendan to string along a woman named Natasha until Piper showed up, and then joking about it all while not realizing their mics were on the whole time.
At this point. Enough where it's like that now.
This led to both of them losing thousands of Instagram followers, the life source of all Bachelor Nation influencers. There was a whole wedding on Bachelor in Paradise Season 2 that actually wasn't a wedding, and the happy couple didn't actually get married, but the biggest controversy to come out of Bachelor in Paradise was one that would actually shut down production and change the way the show operated from that point onward. And the incidents surrounding this shutdown revolved around two contestants already deemed controversial from their respective seasons of The Bachelor and Bachelorette, Corinne and Demario. Now, Corinne here was from Nick's season of The Bachelor and made waves with her bold moves on Nick and famous lines like,
"My heart is gold, but my regime is platinum."
Michael Jordan took naps. Abraham Lincoln took naps. I didn't even to nap, guys. Everyone thinks, this little blonde girl, like, do you call this immature?
while Demario was swiftly booted off of Rachel's season for, like Jed, having a girlfriend back home. Except this time, she actually showed up during filming.
On my father's grave, never, ever. On my both of my kittens sleeping in my house right now, on my brother, my dad, my father's grave. Last time he was in my house,
That summer, both were invited to be a part of Bachelor in Paradise Season 4, but as filming began, word quickly got out that production had halted and Warner Brothers was launching an internal investigation into an alleged sexual encounter between the two. But after the investigation concluded that no wrongdoing had occurred, filming began once more, but with Corinne and Demario being taken off the show and new rules being put in place limiting contestants to 2 drinks an hour. The incident itself did make it onto the show, with it coming out that Corinne had no memory of the event due to a mixture of prescription drugs and alcohol. All through this, Demario maintained his innocence, but still received heavy backlash once the rumors emerged, including being fired from his job. Ultimately, both still went on the Paradise reunion show to clear the air and affirm that no wrongdoing had occurred.
I wish you happiness. I hope that someday we cannot be connected in this very, very, with this nasty cloud over us.
I think the cloud has cleared.
I like that.
But now, before we get into the final controversy and arguably the biggest, a few dishonorable mentions have to be brought up, including Caitlin Bristow accidentally spoiling her season on Snapchat.
You're the first Bachelorette ever to accidentally reveal the ending to the show.
I actually felt really bad. We both felt bad.
This is the picture that you guys accidentally Snapchat.
It's very flattering. I mean, if we meant to do that, it would have looked a lot better than that.
Of course, this didn't actually happen on air, but it did affect the finale in a major way. Next is from Jake Pavelka's season. Contestant Roslyn gets kicked off the show for having an inappropriate relationship with a producer.
Roslyn, you entered into an inappropriate relationship with one of our staffers. That staffer is no longer working with us.
And finally, we have Chad is kicked out of Paradise for violent behavior.
No, off. If you're saying what you're saying, hey, you'll probably get murdered.
It doesn't make sense.
Dude, let's get murdered. But together. Why are you being so unmurdery?
Chad then went on to tell Chris Harrison to F himself and started an OnlyFans.
Go drink your mimosas. Get your robe 100 miles away like you do, because you don't know about anybody here. You, Chris Harrison, Come at me.
But arguably the biggest controversy to come out of the franchise, one that drastically changed the show, was the controversy with Matt James's final pick Rachel and the firing of Chris Harrison. Now, former host Chris Harrison had been the face of the franchise since its birth, and the magnitude of a firing like this would be on the same level of seeing Phil Kogan or Jed Prime removed from The Amazing Race or Survivor. But this all began with Matt James's season of The Bachelor, an important moment for the franchise as it announced its first ever male black lead after 25 seasons. However, controversy stirred when a contestant on the show named Rachel had pictures come out of her at an antebellum themed ball. This then snowballed further as it became clear that Rachel was a frontrunner and eventually would be Matt's final pick. But as the show continued airing, production remained radio silent on the controversy, that is, until Chris Harrison spoke out on the matter in an interview with former Bachelorette Rachel Lindsay. In it, Chris Harrison defends contestant Rachel, asking if what she did was wrong in 2018 or was it wrong now, and condemning the woke police. A sentiment that many fans, including myself, felt was the wrong message in a moment that could have been used to assure viewers they were taking the allegations seriously.
Is it a good look in 2018 or is it not a good look in 2021?
It's
because
not
there's
a
big
good
difference.
look ever, because she's celebrating
Well,
the Old South. If I went to that party, what would I represent at that party?
After this, Chris Harrison was removed from the show and publicly apologized on ABC's own Good Morning America, promising to do better. An apology that host Michael Strahan immediately afterwards called surface level.
Well, his apology is his apology, but it felt like it got nothing more than a surface response on any of this. And obviously, he's the man who wants to clearly stay on the show, but only time will tell if there is any meaning behind his words.
And that right there seemed to be the nail in the coffin. Chris Harrison was permanently removed from the show and would end up settling with ABC on an exit package of roughly $10 million, a combination of settlement money and remaining contractual fees. Since then, Chris Harrison has gone on to get engaged to Entertainment Tonight correspondent Lauren Zima and longtime host of Roses and Rosé, a show that recapped The Bachelor but has since no longer been made. As for Rachel, she and Matt parted ways after filming ended, but since then, Rachel made public apologies and dedications to working towards anti-racism, and now her and Matt are back together. So that's it for this video on some of the biggest controversies and scandals to come out of the Bachelor franchise on air. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe for more. And until next time, Bachelor Fantake out.
Michael Jordan took naps. Abraham Lincoln took naps. I didn't nap, guys. I'm sorry.